In this video, I will be going over your 2-point perspective lesson, and this will be what your quiz is over on September 25th. That'll be Friday. So, of course, you're going to start off with your piece of paper, pencil, eraser, and a straight edge. And just like how in 1-point perspective, you're looking at the cube or the square straight on, 2-point perspective instead is the box or the square rotated to where you're looking straight on at one of the corners. And that would require the panels on either sides of the box to be descending back into the distance further beyond you. So when we start off with our 2-point perspective, you're going to start off with your horizon line like normal. Make sure that's horizontal. Don't forget that the horizon line is eye level. I'm going to go ahead and label that horizon line. And then with 2-point perspective, instead of 1 point on the horizon line, you have 2 points. I'm going to make them far away just for my own sake. I will review why it might not be the best to have your vanishing points close together. So for now, I've got my 2 vanishing points. They are both labeled. I have my horizon line labeled. And now I'm going to begin. I will be drawing my box below the horizon line, so I'll be looking down from above. And when you start with 2-point perspective, start with the corner that's facing you, the corner that is closest to you with this box. So that means you're going to start off with a vertical line, however long you want to make that line. For sake of illustration, I'm going to put little dots on the ends so you can clearly see where the ends of my line are. And this is that front corner of my box that's facing me. At this point, I'm going to take both the top and the bottom of this vertical line and bring them both back to both vanishing points. All right, so now we have both the top and the bottom going back to both the vanishing points. Making sure y'all can see that. At this point, what we have created is an endless eternity panel that's creating that side wall of our box on the left side and on the right side. So at this part, I'm going to cut off my box however far back I want to make him. And you do that with drawing another vertical line within those wall lines that you drew. Again, I'm going to put dots where those intersections are. Same on the other side. I'm going to cut off the box on the other side using a vertical line, just like that. And now what you do is with both of these vertical lines, you are also going to take both the top and the bottom back to both vanishing points. The cool part about this is one side is already done for you because of what I did here. So now all I need to do is take it back to the opposite vanishing point. Oops. Same thing with this one. And what that does is that now creates an intersection for that far back top corner and then this far back inside the box corner that we would not be able to see. They should be fairly close to right on top of each other when you draw a vertical line connecting them. So go ahead and draw a vertical line connecting them. They might be off just slightly, and that's okay. The point is that they are one above the other, and they designate that back corner. So now you can start to see our box here. You can tell that the box is rotated, so we're not looking at it straight on of a side of it. We're looking at the corner that's facing us. So at this stage, I have a box as if it's made of glass, as if it is transparent. What I'm going to do now is I am going to choose a panel to be open. And assuming that all the other walls of my box are opaque, I am going to make dotted the lines that we would not see in reality because they are covered by an opaque wall. So I'm going to choose this panel to be open. So if this panel is open, we of course would see these edges. So I bolden them. We would also see this inside corner between the floor and the wall, if you can think of it that way. You'd also see this little intersection right here where this inside right wall has a corner and an edge up with this back wall right there, as well as this little corner here of the floor. Do you see that? Now we have the ceiling or the top panel. Remember, this guy's closed because I chose to open up that side. So I'm going to bolden him. And from our guidelines and edges, we can see that there's a line right here. We wouldn't see that in reality. This eraser doesn't do well to make things dotted, so I'll just erase it. You might be able to see the faint ghosting of what was there. But this top panel is opaque and closed, so we would not be able to see any corner or edge within it. And then on this left side, this left wall, this is a left exterior wall. I'm gonna bolden this. And then any guidelines within him, we would not be able to see either because he is opaque, we cannot see through him. This right-hand wall, we're actually looking at the inside of this right wall. This is a guideline that brought us back to the vanishing point. We would not be able to see him either. So now you can see my 2-point perspective box that is open on one panel, and I chose this panel to open. Because of the guidelines and the edge lines that I drew, I know that I'd be able to see the inside of this wall, the inside floor here, and this little bit of that inside back wall right in there. If I were to open up, let's say, this top panel, then I would be able to see this edge coming down, and I would not be able to see anything here because then this panel would be opaque and I couldn't see through it. All right, now I'm going to draw a closed 2-point perspective box. This one will be above the horizon line, so I am going to have my eye level be below this box. We're gonna be looking up at it. And just for fun, I'm going to move my box over here. Remember, you start with a vertical line to designate that edge that is closest to you. Bring top and bottom back to each vanishing point. Now you chop off your box. Make sure to keep your lines actually vertical. Don't be caught by the optical illusion and try to make it look like it's angled. These are actually all vertical. Okay, so make sure you make them parallel to each other. Now remember, the top and the bottom of each of these cut off vertical lines need to go back to their opposite vanishing points. This is a shortcut that you can do if your brain thinks this way. If your brain would prefer to think this through by taking every top and bottom of the vertical lines back to each vanishing point, go ahead and do that, just like I did down here. But if you can think ahead and know that this line, okay, goes back to the opposite vanishing point, good. And if your brain can already tell that if I were to bring this top part of that vertical line back to the vanishing point, I wouldn't be able to see it because it's behind, it's on the other side of that box. So you don't need to draw that. You can just draw what you know we're going to see. Same thing right here. We have the bottom of this vertical line. Bring that guy back to the vanishing point. And in the same manner, you could take this top one back to the vanishing point. That would be accurate, but since you're drawing a closed box in this example and all the panels are opaque, you would know that I'm not going to see that. That edge is on the other side of the box that I cannot see. So this is my closed 2-point perspective box. Just like that. Now remember to erase or make dotted the lines we would not see in reality. This eraser is not doing a very good job. Same thing I'd have to do for down here as well. And I would probably redo this with an eraser, like I would re-erase this with an eraser. That would work much better. But these we would not see in reality. And that would be a box above the horizon line. I'm not going to flip this over, and I'm just going to demonstrate 2 more things. One is going to be a 2-point perspective box on the horizon line. So for that, I'm going to draw my new horizon line. Label. Vanishing point, vanishing point. And remember, we start off with our front edge, vertical line. To put something right on the horizon line, make sure that the edge, the line that you draw, does cross somewhere the horizon line. And we're gonna take this back here. Take it back here. Go. And there we go. Chop off your box. Now you'll notice that, again, if your brain can think this way, we wouldn't be able to see anything more on the other side of this box. We would only be able to see this panel and this panel. You could still, if you were making him open, you could bring these lines back, of course. But you don't need to. And then you'd have, of course, that back edge of a vertical line that you could connect at the end there. But with this guy, again, if your brain can think this through, what we would not see in reality, then you can do that shortcut and only connect the sides that you know will be visible, going back to the vanishing point. Okay, so at this point, we're going to erase what we cannot see. Don't forget to erase the horizon line that goes through the middle of the box, because if the box is opaque, we would not be able to see that horizon line. And this is our 2-point perspective box right on the horizon line. Now, quickly, I'm going to demonstrate what happens if you keep the vanishing points too close to each other. So if I were to do this and this, vanishing point, vanishing point. And it's not wrong to do it this way. It just, your drawing will probably look distorted. And so that's why it's my recommendation to you to have your vanishing points farther out to help you out so your box doesn't look distorted. I'm going to do a small box right here. Okay, right there. Same procedure, nothing changes. We've just made the vanishing points very close together. Okay, same thing, a vertical line to cut off the box on either end. And if this were to be my closed box, this is my closed box. Do you see how it looks kind of funky? It is actually accurate because I just did it in front of you with accurate straight lines back to vanishing points, to the 2 vanishing points. But there's still something about this that looks distorted. Kind of like a strange lens to a camera, making this guy super magnified, and there's just some funky stuff going on there. So this would still be acceptable for your quiz, but if it throws you off visually because it doesn't look natural, that's why I would take your vanishing points and move them further away. Most things in life, when we are looking at something that is in 2-point perspective to our vantage point, typically the vanishing points are further away in general. We're usually not seeing something that's distorted in this manner.